Okay, so if you've been around the door's content on YouTube for any capacity after Floor 2 released, it's likely you've seen this, or something similar to it. This creature isn't even an entity in the game, yet it's one of the most popular to exist out there. Why is that? Well, as many of you probably know, this is actually a boss which is coming in Floor 3, or well, a boss that is very likely to come in Floor 3, as nothing is technically confirmed yet as of now. You see, my dear viewers, this entity is a Seek-infected Queen Grumble, in fact, the same one seen in the Floor 2 ending, and in this video I'll be explaining everything you need to know about its upcoming introduction into the Floor 3 update. So with all of that being said, let's begin. Alright, so by now I'm pretty sure all of you watching are familiar with why this entity is such a popular candidate for a theorized Floor 3 boss. But in case you aren't, or just forgot, here is a rough summarization. As confirmed by Guiding Light, grumbles are matured giggles. Screeches are heavily implied to be giggles that are infected by Seek's black loot. At the end of Floor 2, we see the Queen Grumble being infected by Seek. So, seeing how grumbles are just older giggles, and giggles can become screeches, it's safe to assume that grumbles can also become screech-like entities when infected by Seek. Meaning the Queen Grumble who gets infected at the end of Floor 2 is theorized to return as some giant screech monstrosity as a boss in Floor 3, appearing similar to the image on the screen. Now, the infected Queen Grumble, commonly referred to as Scream or Shriek, given how that is a more powerful version of a screech, is very likely to come to the game in the Floor 3 update, and we all know that. However, there are some other things which we could theorize about regarding their actual debut in the castle, which you may not have known about. Let's start about their mechanics. Now, if you look closely at the entity's head in the render on the screen, you can notice that Seek, well, the humanoid version of the creature, is actually on top of the infected Grumble. This is not just some cool addition I put into the render, but I actually believe there is a chance for Seek to be riding the infected queen like a horse in Floor 3. You see, given how we've already seen that Seek can emerge from the goop on the Queen Grumble's head, paired with how the infected Grumble is essentially a giant minion for Seek, as well as how it would be repetitive if the infected Grumble functioned the exact same as a normal one, I theorized that instead of just running from Seek in the Floor 3 chase sequence, we would have to run from both Seek and the other infected queen, acting as a single unit. Not only would that make sense from a gameplay standpoint, but it would also make sense logically, as it's likely Seek would use the infected queen to attempt to capture the player. And given how it typically chases the players, it's possible they would use this infected Grumble to aid them in that chase. It would also look extremely cool, so there are style points as well. Now, if you've noticed, there has been a trend where each progressive floor added to the game appears to be more advanced than the previous. Mostly in terms of gameplay and mechanics, but as well as in things such as building. For example, in the Hotel Seek chase, we simply had to run from Seek, but in the Floor 2 Seek chase, we had a whole section where we had to control a minecart. So in the Floor 3 Seek chase with the infected queen, it's likely won't just be running normally, but instead something similar to the minecart chase would occur. However, what would this be? Well, there's actually a fairly popular theory which explains what could be the gimmick of the Floor 3 chase. Here, let me just find it in my notes and... No! Why is it back? I specifically said the stupid flippin' horse could not be an entity. Crap, why is it here? I guess we have to talk about this quote-unquote entity, as it somehow managed to yet again be important to the video. Essentially, given how horses are typically associated with castles and royalty in a lot of pieces of media, paired with how Floor 3 is going to be a castle, in addition to how the developers created this model of a horse back when Doors was first in development, albeit it was scrapped, paired with how the developers said a lot of scrapped content would be returning back into the game, many people believe that this horse model will be reworked and implemented into Floor 3 as the thing the player rides on during the Seek chase, acting similar to the minecart seen in the Floor 2 chase. Now, I could see this idea actually working. However, it is also incredibly stupid! Doors doesn't have real animals. I mean, besides Timothy, but he gets a pass for being a scary spider. Why would they add a random 2-year-old horse model? It doesn't make any sense! Anyways, moving on from that stupid horse, let's talk about the infected queen. Now, as I had stated, it's likely that this entity would chase you alongside Seek in Floor 3. However, given that the Queen Grumble is such a major character in the game, it's likely just a chase sequence won't be the end of its story. If I had to guess, I'd assume that they would return either in the ending cutscene or in one of the major boss rooms, such as Room 250 or 300. Now, I'm going to put on a tinfoil hat for this next theory I'm going to say, but I don't think the infected queen is going to last after Floor 3. You see, in a previous video I went over the process of how the Seek infection works, and in every case it usually ends in death, given how Seek literally replaces its victim's body parts with more of itself. This means that the queen will likely die soon simply due to their infection progressing, but I do think there could be another reason why they would be killed off. You see, throughout the game's development, it has been teased numerous times that an interaction between the two major bosses, those being Figure and Seek, will be coming soon. For example, in Room 100, we can see Seek's eyes watching events play out, so Seek is definitely aware of Figure and the power he possesses. So given that, as well as how Figure is incredibly strong and hostile towards anything that makes a sound, I think that Figure and Seek will have an all-out brawl in Floor 3, as Seek would likely try to harness Figure's power. And given how the Queen Grumble is now under the influence of Seek, it's possible that she would be involved in this fight. So if all three major bosses are fighting each other in Floor 3, it's possible that at least one of them could be killed by the others. So if the queen doesn't live long enough to die from her infection, she could theoretically be killed by Figure in this fight due to his immense strength. So, to summarize, the Queen Grumble will likely return in Floor 3 as a giant screech entity who will likely chase us alongside Seek. Furthermore, it's possible that they too would be involved in some sort of interaction between Figure and Seek, which could result in their death if Figure manages to kill them. Either way, they would still die to their infection progressing, but yeah. Anyways, I just wanted to create this video to go over this very popular and likely candidate for a Floor 3 boss. So with all of that being said, let me know in the comments what your predictions are over this creature, and thank you all for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.